Shalom, shalom, shalom. Priest Sabak, HOI on the camera.
Rob Judah.
Right, so as y'all can see, we out here. Well, we at Rob
Delamo, Torrance.
Delamo Mall in Torrance. At the AMC Theaters. So we doing a West Coast movie review. From the West Side, all right? Good. Y'all know we normally do the movie reviews in New York, me and Allah, or sometimes we break down the different movies in camp. So we may rarely do a sit down or whatever, but our movie reviews are very generic. They're very organic, so to say. They impromptu, so to speak. In which the dynamic that we like to do is we like to just go see the movie and then break it right down as soon as we come out the theater. To keep it fresh and authentic, let's just see it and just break it down from what we're seeing. So, that makes the breakdown unique. So the movie we're reviewing tonight, pan the camera in on it again, is a movie by M. Night Shyamalan, and it's called A New Trip from M. Night Shyamalan. It's only a matter of time. It's called Old. All right, now, this movie carries a lot of dynamic. There's a lot of layers to this movie. But I'm just going to peel back one layer, and like we do, y'all know in the future, we'll, in the camps and other breakdowns we'll talk about more layers of the film. This movie carries a lot of layers just from the ad. I mean, it says A New Trip from M. Night Shyamalan. It's only a matter of time. Old, right? And the reason why it says a new trip because the movie takes place at a resort. Okay, it's a vacation resort that they bring the people to. Huh?
I forget about to tell them. Spoiler alert.
No. I was getting to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you brothers and sisters, you can check this movie out. Spoiler alert. When if you see the first couple of minutes of this review, stop it. Go to the movie, watch the movie, judge for yourselves. Like I said, there's a lot of layers to this movie. So, when you're spiritual and you're looking at things from a spiritual eye, you're going to peel back those many layers. So, some of the layers we might not cover in this review, you brothers and sisters can bring it in the comment board. Like we always tell you, even when me and Allah do our reviews, we tell you, don't tell us you forgot this, you didn't say that, why you didn't say this. That's for you to do on a comment board. We might have saw those things that you've seen, but in the time that we had, we just hit some of the key points. All right, so if you watch the first few minutes of this review, stop it, go watch the movie, and then come back and check out the review because of course we're reviewing a movie, so it's going to be some spoiler alerts from beginning to end. So with that being said, let's just get right down to business. Now, the movie is based upon a vacation resort that is, it's a medical facility and a medical experimental island that disguises itself as a vacation resort. And what happens is you win this vacation through a sweepstakes. When you go shopping and when you go, they advertise this sweepstakes and they ask you, do you have any medical conditions? Now, once they find out your different medical conditions, they allow you to win this sweepstakes to come to this resort island that's actually a medical experimental facility. Salaki, y'all know, getting tongue-tied. Salaki. But anyway, that's the start of the movie, right? So when you go to this vacation resort / island that's actually a medical experimental facility, they treat you, they open, they roll out the red carpet for you and they treat you good, they treat your children good, everything. And eventually they lure you in and they ask you, do you want to make this special adventure to another part of the island? And once you go to this other part of the island, that's where the actual medical experiment starts to take place. If you know anything about M. Night Shyamalan's, his name.
Yeah, he's an East Indian.
Yeah, his name always trips me up. Yeah, he's Elam. Yeah. He was in the beginning of the movie too. You know what I'm saying? Welcoming everybody back after Corona, which they had a mention of the virus in the movie, but I don't want to spoil it. I'm gonna get to that later. But So basically, you go to this island. So the movie was based upon this family of four. It's an Edomite man and his woman and their two children, and they're in the midst of a divorce also. Now, the medical subjects, what they do also, most of them have physical ailments, or they have something mental going on, or they're having some issue in their marriage or family dynamic. That's how they lured them to the island, because basically they're experimenting with different type of medical conditions. And this shows you that this goes on in reality. It shows you that Esau really got stuff like this. Is art imitating life, like we always say. Esau really got places where he experiment medically on different people, especially our people. And we're going to get to that in a minute. So, of course, you know, in any of these movies, we always bring out the time that we're living in the earth. Esau is pushing their agenda hardcore. Now, one of the opening scenes of the movie, where this family of four that the movie is mainly focused on, don't get upset with me, y'all. I'm not good with these names in these movies when I first see them. If I watch the movie a couple of times, I remember all the names. But this family of four, the children, they say, oh, we want to go down to the beach. We want to go down to the beach. We want to go down to the beach. So automatically, the little girl puts on what? A rainbow bathing suit. So I say that to say, I'm opening up with that because no matter what the dynamic is in these last days, no matter what the movie, commercial, television show, no matter what it is, the sodomite agenda is being pushed heavily everywhere. Now we know the rainbow is that's the Most High's covenant that, you know, he wouldn't flood the earth anymore. He gave that to Israel. We know the biblical, but we know it's been taken as the symbol of these damn faggots and lesbians. So now they got the little girl, and we know from Sesame Street, all these cartoons, how they've been pushing the sodomite agenda on these children. So they got the girl in a little rainbow bathing suit. We know what that symbolizes. We know that we're not going to allow society and Esau to take the Most High's rainbow and use it for the symbol of homosexuality. But that's what they have in this world. I mean, me, myself, I still buy my little daughter stuff with rainbows on them. I'm a little hesitant, but I'm like, that's the Lord's symbol. I'm not going to allow you to take the Lord's symbol and pervert it. But in this society, that's what they're pushing. So they got the little girl in the rainbow bathing suit, symbolizing we're pushing the gay agenda on the children. Because later on in the movie, another scene in the movie, I think they were going to eat dinner or something, and they had her with a dress on with the rainbow strap on it. So they turning this little girl into a damn lesbian, or they're symbolizing the gay agenda through the children right as soon as the damn movie opens up. So the point being, Esau's sodomite agenda is always in these movies. They pushing that agenda so hard in these last days, especially on the children. It's everywhere. So that was in the opening scenes of the damn movie. Now I'm going on to some more points. All right. Another point. So there was a scene. All right. Once the family gets introduced to this sacred part of the island where they can go and have all this enjoyment and peace or whatever, they shoot to that scene, and there's a Jake there. There's a black man just sitting there, and a white woman looks at him seductively and gets into the water. So what Esau does too in these last days, he puts a lot of sexual energy between the black man and a white woman, or even vice versa, because that's one of his biggest fears. That's what he fears, and that's what drives him crazy about the black man, which is going to lead to something that happens later in the movie. Now, as everyone, you know, they bring all these people to this special part of the island, all the people they're going to experiment on, eventually that white woman that stared at the black man seductively, and he stared back at her, she floats up dead. All right, now, without really having anything to do with the plot of the movie, yet having something to do with the plot of the movie, if you notice, what Esau would try to do, he would try to make the what I would call the King Kong Fay syndrome, meaning the sexual energy between the black man and a white woman is almost like, stay away from the black man, he's dangerous, he'll kill you, because all of a sudden they show this woman dead, which the movie tried to make it seem like the black man killed her, but he didn't. Later on, you find out, she died because of this aging mechanism that's in this research part. But I say all that to say, it's the big mean black man wants to rape and kill the innocent pretty white woman when that's far from the truth. Being that we're living in the last days, these white women want a piece of a black man. They go into the black man. Their brothers have done, I think it was somebody, I think it was one of the camps, I think the GMS camp. They had went around one time, these brothers did a video, and they went around asking all the different nations' women, would they date a black man? And 90% of the women said yes, because Jake is like a fad now. It's like, I gotta have a black man before the world ends. So they reversed the dynamic in the media. They use these movies and different things to throw that sexual energy between the black man and a white woman. Oh, a white woman, stay away from him. He'll rape you, kill you. No. These white women are willingly going to the so-called black man. And it's also to demonize all of your movies and your media you use to demonize the black man. Even if the movie is about something totally different, you got to put a scene in there where you're demonizing the black man. That's why we tell Jake, the so-called black, Latino, and Native American man, you got to repent and come back to the Most High. That's your only preservation, because society wants to destroy you and kill you at every cost. Even if it's just a damn movie about a medical experiment on an island, they're going to find a way to demonize the black man and put him as the big King Kong against Fay Ray. All right, so I saw that dynamic in there. But moving on, what's the next point I want to hit? Salakia. Right, so they got on the island, which is part of the point that I just made. But you notice when the white woman washed up dead, all the people blamed it on Jake, right? And he was like, I didn't kill the woman. But the scene that was before that, it showed Jake as she was going into the water, him staring at her with a seductive stare. So the movie set up like, almost like, oh, he raped her and killed her. But later on, like I said, they found out. But as soon as everybody saw that, you killed her. What? Because it has to demonize Jake. You gotta, in all of these movies in these last days, is a high intensity of racism and a high intensity of homosexuality and lesbianism in all of Esau's media in these last days. All right, so moving on, what's the next point I want to get to? Let me see here. What's the next point? All right, so so they get into the sacred part of the island, and these children disappear. The white couple's children, they disappear, and then they come back, and they're like 6 years older, 7 years older. Now, on this island, on this part of the island, is dealing with time. All right, this whole movie really is dealing with time. All right, Esau's fear of time and Esau's preservation of time. That's why the movie is called Old. All right, because it tells you, like it tells you in Psalms, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. All right, it tells you in Ecclesiastes 4, better is the poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king. So in 2 Ezra 14, it tells you the world has lost its youth. Everything is waxing old now. So Esau knows, according to prophecy, his time, his days are numbered. So this movie deals heavily with the preservation of time and the fear of the loss of time. Because they was aging like, it was every half an hour was 7 years. Mm-hmm. Bring it out, Rob Judah.
And you notice how they put that joke in there and say they wish they was black because black people didn't age.
Yeah,
they stayed young.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that point too. I'm gonna line that up with something else. But I'm glad you brought that out, because in this movie, they went to this experimental island where they set these rocks up. All right, and rocks and stuff have been around for thousands of years, you understand? So they had it to where the people age on this island, particularly around these certain rocks, or when they in these certain rocks, or around these certain rocks, or whatever, right? But like you said, they the children aged automatically, and they said, well, how come the children grew so fast, but we didn't get old so fast? Because it was actually their cells that were aging. But with children, children are still in their growth stages when they're young, so they age quicker than the adults. But the whole gist of it was they were aging 30 minutes with 7 years. And that goes into the like looking at this kingdom too, how time just moves fast. You understand? And Esau knows that. So he's incorporating that into this movie Old, because he knows time is moving. Time is moving, like we already in the 8th month of 2021. It was just 2020 with the pandemic. So now in the movie, there was a guy that was kind of a doctor, and he said a virus made them age. You understand? So, what time are we living in right now? Coronavirus, you understand? They're saying the Delta variant is coming, whatever. So he said it was a virus, that some kind of virus made them age. All right? And who's to say the time we living in now, you never know. Esau might come out with a virus that made people age and die quick. That might be a subliminal message they put in the movie. So these children aged, and everybody got in fear and da-da-da-da-da, and they was all upset, and so when you look at it, it's almost as if this medical experiment was showing like what happens to people if they age quickly, or what happens to people. I don't want to jump the gun either, because remember the Edomite woman had the tumor, and they were through time the tumor got big. So this medical experiment not only was on people's physicality, it was about time. You understand? Esau, they're always figuring out how can they age, how can they preserve time, how can they age better, because they age so terribly. And in that scene, like Rob Judah said, there was only one black man and one black woman in the whole movie. No, it was the cop and his wife too, but that was earlier. But stranded on this island, it was the one black man, which was the big. Notice the Jake was big.
Yeah, he was a rapper. He's a famous rapper in the movie.
He was a famous rapper. He was the big King Kong Negro, chasing after the Fay Ray white woman. But notice the only black woman that was stranded, she was married to a Chinese man, Chinese, Korean, whatever, Oriental man, right? A Moabite.
Moab.
Now, I say that to say that's another dynamic that the media is doing a lot in these last days. Everything is, if you look at a lot of commercials, pay close attention. If you look at a lot of commercials, TV shows, television series, you're seeing less and less of the black couple dynamic. You'll see the black woman by herself with the children. You'll see the black man with a gay white man, or maybe with a white woman. You'll see the black woman with a white man. You'll see the white man with his woman. You'll see the Asian man with his woman. But the black man and black woman dynamic is rare that you see it in the movie now. And I mean in media now. And it's rare that you see the entire family dynamic in the movie. They'll throw it in there every once in a while still. But if you pay attention to all these commercials and stuff, that's because what? They want that dynamic gone and destroyed. They don't want no future for Jake in this society. You know what I'm saying? Remember in Psalms 83, it says, "Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." That's going into the destroying the family structure also. So I say all that to say certain dynamics in these last days, you're going to constantly see in the media, because that's the main agenda Esau is pushing, to destroy us as a nation. All right, so the only black woman in the movie is married to a damn Asian man. And then the Jake that's in the movie, he's the stereotypical rapper, big Negro, the dynamic of him and a white woman together, all the stereotypical things. All right, so next point is, yeah, we went into that. They when they said this is the one time the black woman, that was the only time they put the black woman and the black man together too, in that scene. But they had the Eve and the Jake stand together, and they said this is the only time that they wish that they was black. Now, why did they say that? Notice what they said. The only time they wish that they was black. That reminds me of my brother, rest in peace, Paul Mooney. Right? Remember Paul Mooney used to say, everybody want to be black, but they don't want to be black. They want to be black for the benefits. The full lips, the full features, the melanin, the nice shape, the muscle, the strength, the endurance. But like Paul Mooney used to say, let them go back to hanging niggas every day. Let me see who want to be black. Let them go back. Let them go back to hardcore slavery. Let me see who want to be black. So like the brother and the sister said, this is the only time that they wish that they was black. Why? Because the aging mechanism on Israelite people is much more dominant than Esau and the other nations. That's another thing.
Absolutely.
This movie is a subliminal message of how these devils age so fast. They can be 16 looking like they 30 and 40. They could be 20 and 30 looking like they 50 and 60. Remember, the young girl and young boy, by the time the movie ended, they were 50 years old. They was supposed to be like 6 and 7 or some 6 and 10, whatever the age, but they were like 50 years old once the movie ended. And that goes into let you know, Esau also knows that not only is his time up, time is moving fast. They want to try to reverse time. They want to try to for their kingdom to continue, but they age real bad. You know, show the sign again. Look at that. That's a so-called white woman, and Esau know that's what be happening to them.
Yeah, man.
That's why Public Enemy and Chuck D had that song Fear. They had that with an album, Fear of a Black Planet, and Esau. Remember, Biden made that statement about the birth rate, about the Caucasian birth rate, like 2025 will be something. I forget exactly what he said.
He said this country's in trouble. He said by the time 2024, this whites will be the majority or something like that. He
whites
said
will be the minority.
Minority, yeah, exactly.
And they said that Latinos is the next majority race in America because they say Latinos are multiplying quicker than anybody. But, you know, Jake is like baby kids. They don't die, they multiply. Jake still have babies too. And the beautiful thing about it nowadays is there's a lot of brothers and sisters in the truth having babies. So that's a blessing. The Most High's like kind of killing off these 2/3 in Esau and the other nations, and he's allowing Israel and the truth to have babies by the multitude. You know what I'm saying? Shit, last 4 or 5 years, I done had another 2 or 3. I didn't think I was gonna have them. You know what I'm saying? But that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like Brother Tariq say, I'm the old father now. You know what I'm saying? But you know, we keep reproducing. You know what I'm saying? With a woman, you know, she slows down, but the men, we can reproduce till we die. But you know, the blessing is our seed is continuing through the nation. So these children are being born into the truth by the multitudes. So they learning the truth. They're being born in the truth as Israelite babies, where they're not being born in ignorance like in the world. So that's the blessing the Most High has given us, while he's wiping out the other population. Jake killing each other off. Esau's dying off. They committing suicide. Case in point, in front of the camp in Hollywood. And we'll get to a scene or something about that too, right? But, you know, they're dying off. They got Esau be having all kinds of medical conditions and stuff. And Esau be killing each other too. They make it seem like it's just us, but they be going through that too. You know what I'm saying? So this world, you know, natural disasters is killing these nations and people off. So they're dying at phenomenal rates also. Diseases, you know, the medical industry killing people off. You know what I'm saying? So they're dying. The Most High is getting rid of the 2/3 and these other nations. And he's allowing the 1/3 of Israel to keep reproducing and having children being born into this truth.
All praises.
Right, all praises. So that was heavy what they said. This is the only time that they wish that they was black. So when you brothers and sisters watch this movie for yourselves, some of y'all, you know, y'all got some dynamic minds out there. We're not going to take away from y'all. We're not going to say we know everything, or maybe it may be a few things we didn't catch, or maybe it's just, you know, it's not enough time to go into everything. You know, it's be a 5-hour breakdown. But this whole movie deals with different dynamics and layers of time. When you really analyze it, that's what it deals with. God, I got a few more points. But
also, you notice with the crazy man with the knife, the one that had mental issues that stabbed the Jake.
Yeah.
He kept on saying the reason why I killed him is because he gonna follow us home and take our.
I'm gonna get to that too.
And take our stuff. We was a famous rapper, probably a whole bunch of money. So that shows, let you know, in biblical terms that they will still hate you. Esau will still hate you at
Right.
the end of time, even though he's dying. He still
Right.
got that hatred towards
Yeah,
Jacob.
I'm gonna get to that too, but that's a good point you brought out also. Right here. Okay, so the next point is, remember the Edomite, he ends up having sex with the other little young Edomite, and she gets pregnant, right? And what happens is, I was surprised Esau threw this in there, but you know, this devil, he's pulling out all the stops in the last days. The baby dies at birth. Because of the way time is speeding up, they said babies can't exist in this plane of time. So the baby died as soon as it came out the womb. That happens with a lot of Edomites also. That's why Biden made that statement. A lot of these Edomites be having stillborn babies. That's why they be wanting to kill our babies, because they be jealous of Eve's womb. They envy and they're envious and jealous of Eve's womb. That's why I like Hurricane Katrina. When Hurricane Katrina happened, all the Eves that were pregnant, that were relocating, Esau was telling them he'll give them $5,000 to have an abortion. You know what I'm saying? He was paying them to have abortions. And the reason that he was using was, well, look, you're displaced from your home now. You're not in your home. You're going to be moving around until you get settled again. It's not good to have a new baby. Look, I'm having my damn baby, and I'm going to protect my baby and take care of my baby wherever I go. If you moving me to a hotel temporarily until you get me housing, I'm going to just take care of my baby in that hotel. So when you look up Hurricane Katrina, they were paying sisters to have abortions. They was paying them to have abortions. That's how bad Esau want to destroy us as a people. Now, when which they always doing that. In Memphis, Tennessee, I always bring this up too, this story. This story came out about maybe 10, 15 years ago. In Memphis, Tennessee, they were having a real bad problem with stillborn babies, mainly, quote unquote, with African American women. They said that they didn't know what was going on in the hospitals. They didn't know what this epidemic was coming from. So they said they're going to get the CIA to investigate what was going on. Now, the CIA doesn't have a charter to operate domestically. Why would the CIA investigate what's going on in hospitals with babies being stillborn? That's because they ass is the one that was conducting the experiment initially, probably through the CDC or whoever else, and they were injecting these women with something through these doctors or whatever they was saying, and they was killing these babies in the womb. That was about 10, 15 years ago in Memphis, Tennessee. If I'm not mistaken, I read an article on that. I can probably pull it up, but that they might have scraped the internet from it. But I got a physical article of it somewhere. I got so many documents from over the years. But they had a real bad epidemic. It went on maybe for about a year down in Memphis, Tennessee, to where it was so bad they were coming to the hospital and collecting the dead babies in little wooden boxes. They had trucks, they had vans coming around collecting the little wooden boxes that they were putting the dead babies in, and they were burying them in massive graves. They was telling the women, there's no need to have a funeral. There's no need, you know, the child never really got to live, so we're just gonna take the dead fetus, and Lord knows what they were doing with them babies. They were probably taking placentas and different body parts and different, crazy. But that happened about 15 years ago. I read that had an article on that, and I may still have the physical article in my documents. But I say that to say Esau is very envious of that birth, that blessing of the womb. You know what I'm saying? So in this scene, they showed you what be happening to them a lot. They be having a lot of these stillborn babies. They babies be dying. What's the other one? Crib death, of sudden death, sudden SIDS. Yeah, sudden infant death syndrome. A lot of that be happening with Esau a lot of times. You know, our babies come out like, yo, what's cracking? You know what I'm saying? But I can tell you in Exodus, the first chapter, the Hebrew women are lively. You know what I'm saying? So their babies, you know, we under the curses, and you know, our babies be trapped in the hood. Sometimes the father's not there, the stereotypes, but you're not going to close that womb up. The Most High's like, for as much as y'all killing our people and you got us killing each other, I'm going to still allow my children to be born into the earth. All right, so I saw that scene in there that was heavy. Esau was telling on himself how his birth rate is going down, and how a lot of his babies be dying even from the womb. What's the next point? So now, yeah, that point you made about there was a point where one of the people they were experiment on this island, the Edomite man he was married to this other Edomite woman, and he had like schizophrenia, bipolar, he had like mental issues, but he wasn't crazy enough. First of all, he was racist as hell, because when in the opening scene, when a white woman was dead, he's the one that looked at the black man and said he did it, or like he insinuated that the Jake did it. Then he had made some other little racist comments throughout the movie, but then it got to the point where he just, out of nowhere, here's another stereotypical part of the movie. This Edomite just spazzes out and he stabs the brother to death. He stabs the black man to death. That reminded me of the story in the scriptures in Genesis of Esau and Jacob. Remember, it tells you Esau just rose up and slew his brother, and it said, when you read in 1 John, it tells you Esau killed Jacob because his own works was wicked and Jacob's was righteous. That scene in the movie reminded me of that, because technically the white man just killed a brother for no reason. And that reminded me of the Esau and Jacob dynamic according to the scriptures.
Absolutely.
And then now this brother was a well-known rapper, but he came to the island because he had some problems with blood clots. Remember, I told you that goes back to the beginning of the movie. They brought these people to the island under the disguise of, you have medical. They made sure they chose people that had medical conditions because they were experimenting with these medical conditions. And what they were doing was saying, it kind of reminds me of Tuskegee also. Like they had the 400 brothers that had syphilis and they left the brothers untreated. Well, they had the 400 brothers that they gave syphilis to. You know what I'm saying? Roland and these sellout Negroes is trying to say they didn't inoculate them with syphilis. They just got them, just 400 men. Not 103, not 97, not, why is it an even number of 400?
It is held an experiment treatment for them. Yeah.
Exactly. You pick 400 men to inoculate with damn syphilis, and then you left them untreated. You experimented on them. So that kind of what was going on in this movie Old, on this island, this resort, this remote resort island, that they was doing medical experiments on. They were also looking at people, like if their condition goes untreated for a certain amount of time, what would happen to how fast they would die and things of that nature. So getting back to the brother, the Edomite, he just rises up. And out of nowhere, it's like the scene comes out of nowhere. Next thing you know, he's just stabbing and killing the brother. So, like I said, it reminded me of Esau and Jacob. Like I just hate this nigga. I'ma just kill him. Right later on, the reasoning came out, which I'm gonna get to that. But he just slayed this brother. But you want to say something?
Oh yeah. Also, I wanted to know how they make the so-called Jake man feminine. Like first, when the Edomite walked up to him and slit his face with a knife. He was like, "Why'd you do that?" And then I noticed, as big as he was compared to him, he could have broke his neck. But I noticed that Esau in all his movies, he's always making the wimpiest white man beat a big Jake. Just like in The Walking Dead, there was a scene that The Walking Dead had this skinny white man punking this big Jake in The Walking Dead, and Tariq was clowning, calling him the bussy, because they always had the white man being the dominant, the strongest on the island, and that's what they had put in this dynamic. That brother was like at least about 250 pounds compared to that little Edomite that was 160 pounds, and he couldn't take the knife and wrestle the knife out of his hand. It was kind of strange.
He could have ragdolled that Edomite, man.
But that's how Esau put in his movies that we're kids to Esau. We're too scared. We can't fight Esau. They always make us like we the little kid. We can't fight off Esau.
Right. We're
less weak than him.
We're just a big oversized kid. That's scared of master. Esau is still our master. Little old. That's like the scriptures say. How could one chase 1,000? It's like. No matter what the odds are against the white man, we're like these big fearful Negroes against them. It could be one Edomite, one Edomite officer against 1,000 niggas, and all the niggas are scared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which way did he go?
In Minister Society, when a MC8 said one time, and the one cop car came around, they chased like 50 niggas away.
when Tariq said, "Fisto fails me now," that's how they got Jake with the big old eyes. Fisto fails me now.
Is that spirit of no matter what, we're this scary. They can be the big muscle bound Negro, and also that's a form of buck breaking. All right, this big, strong nigga, we gonna show that he ain't nothing but a big-ass baby. That's why they be clowning these dudes like Shaq and what's the other guy? Terry Lewis and
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. They have them acting like fools, like these big, oversized niggas that if these niggas get in a spirit of war, they can take out 50 Edomites at one time. But these big, scary clown niggas, you know, that's scared of no matter what. Oh, here come master. You know, just the presence of a white man, I'm scared. When that Jake technically could have took that Edomite and ripped his damn head off his neck. You know what I'm saying? But it's this scary Negro syndrome, man. That buck breaking.
They love putting that in the movies. That
they always put that. Remember the so-called gangster John Gotti from the Gambino crime family in New York. John Gotti said, that was a thing amongst the Italians. Amongst the Italians, when you go to prison, you get the biggest, bulliest black man, and you just run up to him and punch him in his face to show him that you tough.
The Rocky syndrome.
And John Gotti tried that shit and got his shit rocked. It was a Benjamite. A Benjamite beat his ass in jail. He thought because he was John Gotti, that's Esau's spirit. I'm the white man. You big nigga. You big niggas are still scared of me. He thought because he was John Gotti, and again, nigga, this ain't the street. You can't go get Samuel Bull Gravano and say, hey, whack this nigga right here. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain Jakes in the hood wasn't scared of the mafia either. Y'all white, but we'll put a bullet in your ass just like, you know what I'm saying? Certain gangsters from back in the days in the street, they'll tell you, we ain't give a damn about the Italians. If the Italians disrespected, we'll go at them too. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say, Esau got that spirit. So John Gotti, I'm just using this as an example. John Gotti tried that shit in jail in New York. And Benjamin whooped his ass. Right? They had him. There was a funny. I had saved that article for years too. They had John Gotti with a bloody nose. Right? You know, I guess when he went to infirmary or whatever, he got to take a picture or whatever for the incident. They had John Gotti with a bloody nose, and it said "beat fellow" instead of you know how they call a mafia good fellas. Instead of good fella, it had beat fella, and it was a Benjamite. They specifically said in the article, a Caribbean inmate beat his ass. Well, not those words, but you know, it was a Benjamite brother that beat, and they said Gotti thought he can pick a fight with the guy, and Benjamin whooped his ass in jail.
Beat the brakes off him.
You the Godfather. That shit ain't pulling no weight in here.
It reminded me when Tariq was telling that story when he was saying that in New York they hired these white guys to guard everything. They had the green beret. What was they called? That's your town. They would ride the subway and they was try to.
Them guys.
They said they used to get the base.
Curtis Slee one.
They was called the
Guardian Angels.
The Guardian Angels. He said they used to get their ass beat.
That's Curtis. That racist ass bastard Curtis Slee. I just saw they had a rally in New York when I was back home in New York a couple of weeks ago. They had a mayor's rally because Curtis Slee. He's running for Republican office mayor, and he's a racist ass bastard.
He was part of the Guardian Angels.
He was the leader of the Guardian Angels.
I heard
he ain't nothing but a racist bastard, and he's trying to be a baby of Giuliani. Because Giuliani was racist as hell. But one thing I can say about Giuliani, he cracked down on the mafia. Giuliani's Italian, but Giuliani cracked down on the mafia, not because his main agenda wasn't niggas, but he felt like the mafia was an embarrassment to Italian people. So Giuliani was a major part of cracking the mafia in New York. Because he felt as an Italian, they was making him look
he's
bad.
trying to get that stigma off of Italians.
Like, we're clean cut. We're not criminals like the niggers. You know what I'm saying? So that's the nigger stuff. Us Italians don't do that. We're district attorneys. We own pizza shops. We own reputable businesses. We're not wise guys.
And they was the biggest gangs in New York back in
New York.
When they came.
Yeah, Curtis Slee, they used to get their ass beat. You know what I'm saying?
Tariq was clowning about that.
Trying to protect the city. So now he's running for mayor. You know what I'm saying? He was married to this other Edomite. But she might be Northern Kingdom, but I think she's a Spaniard. Lisa Evans, and she left his corny ass, and you know what I'm saying, probably ran to a Jake, but he was another stark racist too. You know what I'm saying? But back to the fact of the matter, you know, is that syndrome of Jake supposed to be the big scary nigga, and now they gonna work with every Jake. You know, John Gotti was the leader of one of the biggest, mafia crime families.
The
in New York.
Gambino family.
The Gambino crime family. They was big in New York. They had one of the toughest hitmen, Sammy the Bull Gravano. That Edomite was no joke. He killed a lot of people. But Jake was like, nigga, we in the pen now. None of that shit don't count. And whooped his ass. He stepped to the wrong Jake. So the time is going to come where Esau going to think he going to pull that. So to me, that was a whole nother dynamic of the movie because they threw the racial element in there. They threw the race war, the black man's the criminal, the Esau and Jacob syndrome. They threw all that in that one scene. Now, and then remember, they asked the Edomite, he was supposed to be schizophrenic and bipolar and crazy. They asked him, why did you kill him like that? He said, because he was going to follow us home and rob us. Now, remember, the Jake was a top rapper. Now, what are the major labels, what they got these rappers doing? Rapping about drugs, killing each other, they pants hanging off their ass, hatred of their women, misogyny, all that. So it's showing you no matter what, you could be a top selling rapper, but you're not. You're looked at as nothing but a nigga criminal. So remember, he was a top rapper, but he's looked at as the nigga. I don't care how much money you made. I don't care how much stacks you counting on Instagram, how much money you throwing into the ocean, how many $100 bills you burning, how much you making it rain. You're still a nigga.
Yeah, you heard what Dawes said.
He was going to follow us home and he was going to rob us and take everything we got. They still threw that racial stereotype in there. And that goes back to what? Time.
Good.
That goes back to what, too? That's Esau showing his racism, but that's also fear of Jake getting fed up in these last days and really doing that to these devils. Because during the race wars, remember, Isaiah 13, it says what? Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished. You got a lot of these 2/3 Jakes out here that the most are going to use. Even some of the 1/3 in this race war, and they're going to exact that revenge back on Esau. So Esau fears that also. Like I said, this movie goes through many layers of time. He's fearful that in his kingdom getting old, Jake gonna start remembering and getting that spirit of vengeance. The more we in this society, niggas gonna get tired and eventually say, listen, you crackers, it's time for you to pay. So it's different layers many heavy different layers of time dealing with this movie. You want to say something?
Oh yeah, so also know it was two points I noticed in the movie. You notice they had the Edomite parents. You notice how they had the woman, the mother, she died with the fringes on her. She had the blanket with the fringes on it.
She had the blanket with the fringes.
And then the other, the woman that was dying of the seizures. She was the only one that they had this a successful experiment said that with that syrup that she drank, it was equivalent of 16 years of not having a seizure. So that was a successful experiment. It was always the Jake that had this. They couldn't work on the other Jake brother because he got killed. You know what I mean? But they probably would have had two successful experiments with the two Jakes. I notice they always have a successful experiment on Jakes, you know what I mean?
Right, because we survivors, man. Our people are survivors, and even through, that's why they kill us through medicine, but a lot of times we're healed through medicine. We go into the hospitals or whatever, and all right, I'm good. But that's where they got to get you in the hospital and kill you. Because if they treat you properly, and give you what you do, Jake can survive. So they got to get niggas in there and kill them. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good point you made. And I just noticed right after they threw this in there too on the racial element. Notice right after the Edomite killed the Jake, they cut to a scene where the black woman kisses the Chinese man. Like right after, you know what I'm saying? Right after the cracker kills the Jake, they turn to a scene and the black woman is kissing the Chinese man. So it's like, we kill your man off and then give you to another nation. So I caught that, and like you said, Eve was the only one that the experiment worked on.
They said it was equivalent of 16 years of her not having a seizure for her drinking that, because they gave everybody medicine on their condition before they come in, and then they sent them off to that island. Because it was a time on it. They wanted to see how much the medicine worked, whatever they gave them in that bottle or their drinks.
Right, because in the beginning, they gave them drinks, making them think it was cocktails, but it was actually, like you said, it was medicine that they was giving them. to see the effects.
The
of
effects
how
of the
it
medicine
over the
period of time.
The 30 minutes equivalent to 7 years over a period of time.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I'm glad you caught that point. So the next let me see. Next point. Yeah. So the Eve, she eventually has the seizure and dies, though. You know, the black man and the black woman got to be killed off. Regardless, they still got to die. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and Esau survives. Esau always survives.
He always gonna survive.
So eventually Eve does, because I guess the medicine, it worked for that equivalent of the 16 years.
16
but then
years.
after that, she died. She had a real bad. And notice, I caught this too. Notice when she was having a seizure, nobody did nothing. Notice when all the other Edomites, when they were having a medical condition, they tried to help. Remember the Edomite woman, her tumor grew and they cut it out of her, but they just sat there and let the Eve die. The Eve had the seizure. They didn't try to hold her tongue down or nothing. They throw this little racist shit in these movies, man. You know what I'm saying? So I peeped that too. All right. So like after Eve dies, whatever, you know, they come back and you know, eventually. So now fast forward, they go and they're trying everything to get off this island. They're trying everything to get off this part of the island. Now notice the Edomite woman, she climbs up the rock. She tries to climb up the rock to escape over the rocks off the island, because they figure if they can get off that part of the island, they'll stop aging and they can live. You know what I'm saying? So she climbs, she gets all the way to the top, and then she falls her ass down and dies. You know what I'm saying? So Esau, when you look at it, it's like they'll try anything. We gotta preserve ourselves. We gotta stop this time. We gotta freeze this time so we can continue to live. And so we gotta do anything, and that's what they do in this world. They really try to like you know, daylight savings time, and they try to manipulate and do anything they can do. So her ass was willing to climb this high goddamn mountain.
And she was good to climb that. I was like, damn,
you know, she got to the top.
I was like, she's only 6 years old. She know how to climb that good.
Got to the top and she fell her ass down and reminds us of the suicide Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? How about thou falling from heaven, O Lucifer? So it's like, you know, and that's symbolic too, because the Most High is marking them. It's like, no matter what you try, you can try to go to the damn heavens to continue your kingdom, but I'm gonna bring you down.
Tower of Babel.
So she ass climbed that rock.
God.
She climbed that rock. She got right to the top and fell her ass right down.
God.
You know what I'm saying? Like Esau this Saturday on Hollywood and Highland.
God.
He climbed his ass to the top of that roof and dived his ass off. Splat! You know what I'm saying? And she came down and hit one of the rocks. I
Yeah,
thought
she was
gonna hit the
finished.
sand,
Oh yeah.
but she hit the rocks and bow. And it's funny because the Most I got a sense of humor, because we had already set up to come review this movie. And then Edomite killed himself in front of the camp on Hollywood and Highland. And then they got the scene in the movie where she climbs to the top of the mountain and falls her ass down on a rock.
God.
Most I got a sense
Can't
of
make
humor.
this stuff up.
Can't make this stuff up, man. So eventually, what happens? The young couple, to fast forward. There's many other things, y'all, Israel, but these are not some of the more deeper layers that I noticed. This was just stuff I saw on the surface with just the racial dynamic and the whole layer of time that Esau is trying to show in this movie. But so to finalize it, I just make these two last quick points. I think we covered a good amount. And other stuff will come out. So eventually these two Edomites, the Edomite boy and girl, the initial family, the main characters of the movie, they find a part of the ocean with this coral reef, and they could swim through this coral reef and make their way to another side of the island where they're not aging anymore. So they eventually escape the island. They escape and they get off the island and they go report what's going on. This is when you finally realize it was all a medical experiment. And remember the doctor said, he said we had one success. I think he was talking about the Eve, you know what I'm saying? He had said we had one success. So this is when you find out this whole thing was a medical experiment. And I'm going to say this to y'all out there. If y'all think this stuff really don't go on, they probably didn't show us nothing in this movie compared to what they really do. Esau, because remember, you got to remember, through Esau's medical field, that's how he depopulates the earth, and that's also how he makes a lot of his money. So they concentrate heavily. They're always concentrating heavily on that medical
on
field.
Jake. Yep.
Now they always trying to say that we're making advances in science, and we're making. Now that's true, because surgeries and different things have become quicker. You recover in the hospital quicker. You can go home faster. You're fine. You have surgery and you can go home the same day. 2-3 days you walking around. So they are advancing to a degree, and that's the Most High giving them the technology to help heal certain people. That's the Most High having mercy on a certain portion of the people. So they finally escape from the island. They find this coral reef, like I said, that they can swim through, and it gets them to another part. You know, they go through it, it get them to another part. Almost kind of like they went through another dimension. Like they went through, you know, the part where you age and they found another way. And remember, it shows you, you knew they was being experimented on the whole time, because somebody at the top of the mountain kept looking down. Because they had to look at them. They probably was monitoring them, but they had to look at them physically too. So they finally escaped, and they go report what was going on. And they come back to the island, and you know they mess everything up. And they got a new set of people to come back to the island and resort, and they offer them the cocktail, which is actually medication, like Rob pointed out. And then the young brother and sister that they age from 6 and 7 to 50, they show up on an island and they smack the potion out of the hand. And so now eventually everybody on the island, you know, they get arrested, and they break up this experimental island resort, so to speak, and you know, quote unquote, save the day, as you know, Esau always does in these movies. But I say all that to say Esau is definitely experimenting with medicine, with time, and everything. So this is the dark side of this world that they be showing us in these movies. This is art imitating life. And if you think this stuff is not really going on, Israel, it is really going on, especially with our people. You know what I'm saying? So that's about it. I can't think of nothing else offhand. But I'm interested in movie, man. Old. You know, definitely dealing with time, man. And remember, the Most High said to me in 2nd Ezra 4, by measure have he measured the time, and by number have he numbered the time. So time is very important. That's why you can't waste time. You know, you got to take advantage of time, and you see how time is moving so fast, and everything is speeding up, and Esau does feel like him and his kingdom is getting old, which it is. And it's going to be a new kingdom, you know, not an old, but a new. As their kingdom get old, remember 2nd Ezra 6, Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob's the beginning of it that followeth. So as their kingdom get old, it only gets one day closer to the new kingdom coming to Israel and Canaan. All right, bring it out, Rob.
Also, you notice how they had to go to the Jake cop, and he was sort of like the HOI. You know, he's looking at the island with his, you can say the helicopter represents the chariots while they was in the island and stuff like that. And apparently, when I was reading the review online, they said that island was supposed to be the Bermuda Triangle, where Satan fell, allegedly, you know, going through the book of Enoch, he fell from heaven. That's what that island was supposed to be. That's why it had time was sped up like that. It wasn't nothing to do with the rock. They was trying to say that that island was supposed to be the Bermuda Triangle, and that's where Satan fell.
Right, yeah, because that's what I said. I brought out when they swam in the ocean and they went through the coral reef, it kind of almost looked like they were going through a dimension of time. And remember, it got to a part around a coral reef when it was spiraling down, like the Bermuda Triangle. So I figured that. I figured that, but you know, like I said, I always do the movies real impromptu, so I'll be like, I don't want to know nothing about the movie. I just want to see it and break it down. And then I'll always go back and read the reviews and everything and get deeper into it.
That's what
I like to just do it straight off the head. That's been a unique dynamic of our movie breakdowns. It's like fresh off the head. But you know what I was about to, there was another scene. Remember, the boy was writing they were kind of writing in like this sign language.
Yeah, the coded message.
It looked like Paleo
Hebrew, yeah,
you know, it kind of looked like ancient Paleo Hebrew. So I knew that. They threw that in there. They threw the fringes.
The fringes,
in there.
yep.
And remember, the fringes was on. It was on the cover, and it was on something else.
It was on the umbrella.
On the umbrella.
It was on the umbrella, and then she took the fringes off and tried to put it on the thing to float out, but she died.
Yeah, float out. Remember it's subliminal. He took the fringes off and tied it around those. I forgot what they call them things.
Those things that the kids play in the pool with. I can't remember those things.
I guess she was gonna make like a float out of that. You know what I'm saying? And float up out of it. And they mocked the ass had the season drop dead.
Yeah.
But notice the little girl had like on bell fringes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a scene where the little girl, she had on a white dress, like a skirt and top outfit. And there was a scene she had like the little bell fringes going around. Some of the sisters wear those sometimes. She had like the little bell fringe going around. So I noticed that too. So when I watch it again, I'll probably decipher more what they was trying to go into with that. Like I said, M. Night Shyamalan, his movies are kind of abstract. You know, he goes into the abstract in his movies, so you kind of got to watch him like 3 or 4 times and really go in. But some of you brothers and sisters will probably watch it and pick up some other points too. But yeah, I noticed that they threw that little subliminal in there too. And then Jake came like the Yahweh Shah,
the chariots
at the end to save everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he saved all the people on the island. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was a dynamic in there. So that's about it. You know, all praise to the Most High by Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shah. Any other points?
Oh no, that's it. That's all I could think of. The fridges, the Yahweh Shah, the helicopter at the end, looking at the island.
Flying over the island. You know what I'm saying?
That represents the chariots.
And saving all the people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, So they threw that subliminal in there too. But yeah, because as Esau Kingdom get old, Yahweh Shah and the angels are coming. You know what I'm saying? To save it. So
and they still, I'm still amazed at. Jake still didn't age. They still look the same from the beginning of the movie. Both him, him as we don't age. You know, we could be like 60 years old, still be looking like 30 or 40. I mean, I see it.
That's why they had that scene in there.
Yeah.
To me, that was like, you know, we can point out so many different points, but to me, that was like the movie.
Yeah.
When the Jake and Eve was like, this is one time they wish they was black. That was like the whole movie. Because the movie is dealing with that spirit of time. And one thing with us, we don't age, and then as Esau Kingdom goes on, he's getting closer to his end and our beginning. So it's a win-win situation really with us. That's why all Jake really got to do is come back to the Most High and ride this thing out. It's a win-win for you. You know what I'm saying? But they want to... Then Nala brought that out on the last movie review. Jake gotta waste the spirit in this society because his spirit tells him this is not his world. Whereas Esau got a survivalist spirit. Esau want to live. He want to do everything. He want to try to make it where Jake is like, man, fuck that. I kill that nigga. I'm going to just smoke, get some lean. I'm a party. I'm a bullshit. YOLO, you only live one. You know, it's like Jake got a, I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Spiritually, this is not our
his
world.
Kingdom, not our rest.
This is not our rest. Whereas Esau, he's like, we getting old. We got to do something. Esau's trying to save it because he know it's his. So it's them two opposites. You know what I'm saying? But we got a win-win situation. All Jake got to do is repent, come back, keep these laws, do the right thing, cut this nonsense out. It's not hard. You make it hard because of Satan and all the temptation. But it's not hard. Jake in a win-win situation.
Win-win.
But the Most High set it up. The Most High, he wanted to make an example out of that 2/3.
I remember when what's his name, Vocab Below said, black people act like they won the lottery. Yeah, we damn right we won the lottery. We got the kingdom. That's why you so upset. You know what I'm saying? He said, y'all act like y'all already won the lottery. You damn right we won the lottery.
And then on the flip side of that, when you check it out, Jake like, fuck it, I might as well just enjoy this because, you know, when I leave here, I'm gonna be ruling anyway. So Jake like, fuck it, I might as well have my fun now and have my fun later. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that reverse dynamic also, you know what I'm saying? But all praises to Yahweh by Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? You know, looking at these movies from a spiritual aspect and a wisdom aspect and a biblical aspect, and just giving you some pointers, quoting scripture here and there, because everything, we could decipher and go through the word of the Most High and see it for what it really is. You know what I'm saying? But Esau is definitely going into layers of time in this movie called Old by Shimon Mashiach. Right. So with that, death and destruction of Esau and the nations. May Esau kingdom get old real fast so we can get our new kingdom. Right? May his be old and ours be new. You know what I'm saying?
You also forgot the point when she stabbed him with that rusty knife, how he died with that rust. That's his kingdom, when she stabbed him with that rusty knife.
You know what I'm saying?
He died with all that rust.
He died. I didn't really forget that part.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can go on. You know what I'm saying? But with the rust, when it tells you when she stabbed him with the rusty knife, which is true.
Yeah.
If you stab somebody with a rusty knife, that they get infected and all that. But when she stabbed him with a rusty knife and he deteriorated and died so fast, that's another layer of time. Esau, because when you stab somebody with a rusty knife, over time it jacks them up. But being that time was, moving so fast, so it's another layer of time. Esau's like, damn, our time is running out. So, when these niggas start killing us and these race wars and these nations, everybody coming at us, we gonna be dying off quick, man. They gonna be killing us off, and the Most High gonna be killing them off. So it's so much, in layers. Like I said, man, this movie deals with about maybe 10 different layers of time, man. You know what I'm saying? So, that's another dynamic of the movie. But we can go on and on, man. There's so much stuff. But we'll do, probably when we in camp and other, teachers, we'll talk more about it, more different things. But anything else you want to bring out?
No, that's it. We covered everything that I can remember in the movie. That was pretty much it.
I didn't bring out.
No, that was it.
There's a lot of other stuff, man. It's a lot of little stuff they do in there. You know what I'm saying?
Those 2 points with the stabbing of the knife, how he rusted. That's Esau's kingdom. That's going to just be rusted,
right?
And it can also represent the nuclear fire rusted. Everybody going to turn into that type of ash. Yeah. When the nuclear fire comes, World War III, it went fast.
And you know what? When you look at that scene, the way he deteriorated from that rusty knife, it kind of reminds you of Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, yeah, God.
You know what I'm saying? When that flesh melted off of her. So that's symbolic to how, and even Esau, the rust represents his wickedness. Because it tells you in Sirach, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Yeah, God.
So his rust represents his wickedness, and that same wickedness is going to come back to haunt him by way of nuclear fire.
God.
So it's so many layers, man, you know what I'm saying? So many layers, you know what I'm saying? But that's about it. We covered a good part of it.
God.
All praise to the Most High, Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Oh! All right, the movie review Old. So with that, death and destruction of Esau and the nations. Like, comment, subscribe, Israel. Make your comments and bring your pointers in. That that don't say, oh, you forgot, or you didn't bring this, or why you didn't say this, Sabak, and what about this? That's for you to bring in. That's for you. That's why we have comments, so we can feed off of. Y'all bringing y'all breakdowns too. All right, so we can all be edified on something. So, once again, Priest Sabak.
Rob Judah.
Right, HOI Los Angeles, HOI to the chariots fly, all the camps in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, forever and ever. Amen. This is our West Coast version of our movie review and breakdown with me and Rob Judah, like me and Brother Nala do on the East Coast. All praise to the Most High Yahweh Shai. But it's all for the edification of the body, and it's all to show us what's really going on in these last days, what's the subliminal messages and what they're really trying to show us. And that educates us more on the agenda and what's going on, and it keeps us firm in our stance in this truth so we can know what's going on and, stay away from the wiles of the devil. The scriptures say in Matthew 26:41, watch and pray. So we watching what's going on like we're being watched. And we're praying and we see what they're doing. We see their subliminal messages. We see how they're trying to destroy our people, and we're fighting against it with this truth. By Shema Mashiach. So with that, Priest Sabak, HOI to the chariots fly, HOI Los Angeles, all the camps in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, forever and ever. Amen. Rob Jude on the camera. Kwame Ashala, we still got next. Bring it out. HOI pull up boys. By Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai, forever and ever. Amen. the movie review old. Check it out and let us know what you think.
God.
Hallelujah. Shalom.
Shalom.
Come here, Shalom.
Come here, Shala. Let's give him one more.
Oh.
That's old at the Glamo Mall. You guys like and subscribe to the channels. We got HOI LA and then HOI Los Angeles. So subscribe to both channels. Rob Judah out.
Right.
Come
Come
here,
here,
Shala.
Shala. Free Sabak out. Come here, Shala.
Come here, Shala.